The Great Pyramid of Giza is made of 2.3 million stone blocks. Each block weighs between 2 and 80 tons. The entire structure is so precisely aligned with true north that modern architects, with all our technology, cannot replicate it. It was built over 4,000 years ago. And to this day, nobody can agree on exactly how they did it. Today, we go deeper than the textbooks because the real story of the pyramids is far stranger, far more impressive, and far more controversial than anything you were ever taught in school. Welcome back. If this is your first time here, this channel digs into the real stories behind history's greatest mysteries, the ones that got left out of your textbooks. Today, we are tackling one of the most debated questions in all of human history. How did the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids? Not the simplified answer you got in school. The real, complicated, fascinating truth. Let's go. Before we get into the how, let's understand what we are actually talking about. The Great Pyramid of Giza, also called Khufu's Pyramid, was completed around 2560 BCE. For nearly 4,000 years until the Lincoln Cathedral was built in England in 1311, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth. Let that sink in. 4,000 years as the tallest building in the world. It contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. The average weight of each block is 2.5 to 15 tons, but some blocks in the inner chambers weigh up to 80 tons. If you laid all those stones end to end, they would stretch two-thirds of the way around the earth. And here is the detail that stops engineers cold. The four base sides of the pyramid are aligned to the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, with an accuracy of just 0.05 degrees of error. That is more precise than the Greenwich Observatory in London. How did people 4,000 years ago, with no compasses, no GPS, and no modern tools, achieve that? That is the question. For centuries, the popular belief was that the pyramids were built by slaves, thousands of them, whipped and worked to death under the blazing Egyptian sun. You have seen this in movies. You were probably taught this in school. It is almost certainly wrong. In 1990, archaeologists discovered something remarkable near the pyramid site, the remains of a workers' village. Inside, they found bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, and most importantly, tools. In ancient Egypt, only respected citizens received proper burials. Slaves did not. The workers were organized into crews with names like Friends of Khufu and Drunkards of Menkore. They received wages, paid in bread, beer, and meat. Their skeletons show signs of heel fractures, meaning they had access to medical care. One skeleton even showed evidence of successful brain surgery. These were not slaves. They were skilled, organized, paid workers, possibly the world's first large-scale organized labor force. Tens of thousands of them working in rotating shifts across decades. Now for the big question, how do you move a 15-ton stone block with no machinery? The honest answer is, we are still not completely sure, but we have strong evidence for a surprisingly elegant solution. In 2014, researchers studying ancient Egyptian wall paintings noticed something they had overlooked for years. In one painting, workers are shown dragging a massive stone sledge. At the front, one person is pouring liquid onto the sand ahead of the sledge. For a long time, this was ignored. Then physicists at the University of Amsterdam ran an experiment. They discovered that slightly wet sand, just the right amount of moisture, reduces friction by up to 50%. That one worker pouring water in front of the sledge was not performing a ritual. He was a scientist. He was using physics. The stones were loaded onto wooden sledges, dragged across wetted sand, and transported from quarries as far as 800 kilometers away by boat along the Nile. A remarkable 2017 discovery found an ancient harbor and a logbook written on papyrus describing the daily delivery of limestone blocks to the Giza site. It is the oldest papyrus ever found, and it describes the pyramid construction in the workers' own words. But not everyone accepts the mainstream explanation, and some of the alternative theories are fascinating. The internal ramp theory, proposed by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin, suggests that the Egyptians built a straight external ramp for the lower levels, then switched to a spiraling internal ramp like a corkscrew inside the pyramid for the upper levels. 3D modeling supports this theory. And in 2017, a team using cosmic ray scanning, a technology that sees through solid rock, discovered a previously unknown void inside the Great Pyramid, 30 meters long, right where Houdin predicted an internal ramp would be. Then there are the more controversial theories. Some researchers point to the fact that the pyramid's base perimeter divided by twice its height gives you pi to several decimal places. Others note that the speed of light in meters per second 299,792,458 matches precisely with the geographical coordinates of the Great Pyramid at 29.9792458 degrees north. Are these coincidences, mathematical inevitabilities, or evidence of something we do not fully understand about the ancient Egyptians? That is a question historians still argue about. Here is perhaps the most mind-bending fact of all. The ancient Egyptians left us detailed records of almost everything: their wars, their pharaohs, their religious rituals, their tax records. But they left almost no direct record of how they built the pyramids. No architectural drawings, no construction manual, no monument to the builders. Almost as if the knowledge was never meant to be written down, or as if something happened to it. What we know for certain is this: a great pyramid was built by human beings, skilled, intelligent, organized human beings who understood physics, mathematics, logistics, and engineering at a level that shocks modern experts. They did not need aliens. They did not need magic. They needed something rarer and more impressive than both: generations of accumulated human knowledge, determination, and genius. Pyramids were not built by slaves. They were not built by aliens. They were built by human beings who understood physics well enough to use wet sand as a lubricant, who organized tens of thousands of workers with military precision, and who achieved a level of mathematical and astronomical accuracy that still baffles scientists today. And somehow, they did all of this without a single piece of modern technology. So the next time someone tells you ancient people were primitive, tell them about the Great Pyramid. Tell them about the worker who poured water on the sand. Tell them about the papyrus logbook. Tell them about pi hidden in the geometry of a 4,000-year-old monument. Which part shocked you the most? The wet sand trick? The fact that they were paid workers? Or those mathematical coincidences? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more of history's greatest mysteries every week, subscribe. We are just getting started.